Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. The gentleman to my left, his name is Tim, and this is The Second Legacy, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today, we are going to talk about the breaking news, some updates to what we've been talking around Hunter Biden. It turns out he's going to plead guilty to some charges. We're going to break it down right now, and particularly interesting, one of those is a gun charge. Now, if you would like to help Second Legacy grow and spread freedom across this great nation, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We would love for you to join in us with us every single day as we explore freedom together. But Tim, before we talk about the Hunter Biden, how are you doing, man? You excited? I'm amped.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. This is going to be fun to watch.
Oh yeah. Well, because some backstory. I mean, you and I have talked about it a few times. Hunter Biden, remember, if you guys have not zoomed out and looked at this whole thing, the last we heard about Hunter Biden on a gun charge was, first of all, the Biden DOJ said he didn't do it. Then the White House said he didn't do it. He was perfectly fine. After all, he's a good person. And then all of a sudden, he started using the Bruin decision. And now, Tim, we find ourselves here. So do you want to do the honors, or do you think I should do the honors for the introduction of the content here?
No, go ahead, man. You're so good at it.
Oh, you flatter me, sir.
I try.
Well, Mr. Producer, could you hit number one for me? This is from CNN. This is so breaking. They don't have much more than this right now. Hunter Biden to plead guilty to federal tax charges and strikes a deal on gun charge. Now, this broke today, okay? All the stuff we're talking about here is going to be very important as we go further. Could you go to number two, Mr. Producer? Hunter Biden charged with failing to pay federal income tax and illegally having a weapon. Now, this is from the AP, and this is where it gets really good and juicy. So, Tim, just off reading that, what's your initial thoughts before we dive into the actual article content? What are your thoughts here?
It's just kind of funny how they don't really report accurately. So they're saying he had an illegal weapon. No, he lied on a 4473 form.
Exactly right.
The weapon was not illegal. He lied to get the weapon. He illegally
100%.
acquired the weapon. The weapon itself is not illegal. So
exactly.
It's just, again, these are the people that are telling us, what laws we should have and what laws we shouldn't. They don't even understand the laws. But yeah, so, and what's really ironic about this is there is a lady whose child took a gun to school, and she was a user of marijuana. Now, keep in mind, Hunter Biden is a user of meth and crack and, any other hardcore drug that he can think of. But right. This lady specifically was, accused of, or I guess, admitted to using marijuana. And so marijuana is one of those Schedule I drugs that a federal court, as we've discussed before, has said, yeah, that's not disqualifying for owning a firearm. Right. Now, of course, ATF hasn't gotten this memo, but they didn't chime in on meth and heroin and crack.
Isn't that weird?
What's that?
It's weird, right?
Yeah, kind of weird.
Think it's
so
odd.
She's probably going to prison. We're going to see what's going to happen to old Hunter Biden. Now, if her last name were Biden, I suspect she would, probably walk on the charges as well. Now, he hasn't walked yet. Let's talk some more about what's going on.
Oh, we're going to get it. Mr. Producer, could you hit number three? And then after, we're going to follow up with number four. So this is from Washington, the AP. President Joe Biden's son Hunter has been charged with failing to pay federal income tax and illegally possessing a weapon and has reached an agreement with the Justice Department, according to a letter filed in U.S. District Court in Delaware. We're going to come back to that in 1 second. Now, number four. As part of the agreement made public Tuesday, so that's today, Hunter Biden will plead guilty to misdemeanor tax offenses and is expected to reach an agreement with prosecutors on the felony charge of illegally possessing a firearm as a drug user. It is somewhat unusual to resolve a federal criminal case at the same time the charges are filed in court, though it's not totally unheard of. So, the first thing I want to hit here, Tim, is in number three, when they were talking about, like to your point earlier, it was an illegal gun charge. No, it was illegal possession. Now, deeper in the article, well, we're past the headline now, so we can say it's illegal possession. I just thought I'd bring that out because I thought it was kind of funny, to your point.
Yeah.
But the second piece here on number four, this has got serious Al Capone vibes. Is it just me? I mean,
no, you're right.
We're going to get him on tax evasion. What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, keep in mind, this is the guy that is accused of, along with his father, taking bribe, selling influence, taking bribes, if you will, and pocketing that money. So what they're accusing him of is taking in about $1.5 million in revenue for 2 tax years and then not reporting the income and not paying the taxes. Now, it's anybody else that had done that, because they found out about this money because he didn't declare it, and if he didn't declare it and filed a tax return, that's actually serious criminal penalties involved with that. So I don't really know if he filed a misleading or inaccurate tax return, or if he just didn't file any tax return. I don't know. But,
Right.
Normal people would find themselves in prison for this one because he owes over $200,000 in back taxes, right?
Just the statement of saying normal people is really indicative of where we are.
Right. You and I, if I owed the government $200,000, didn't declare it, took the money illegally through a bribe scheme, and then didn't declare the income, they would put me under the prison. But if your name's Hunter Biden, chances are he's going to walk on that one. But they were 2 misdemeanor charges, so I'm not sure what the charges were. They said they were misdemeanors, 12 months each for each one.
So this is what's so interesting about this, and you're picking up on it as well. Misdemeanor charges. Well, that's lesser than a felony. And wouldn't you know it, you've got 2 misdemeanors over here with tax evasion, but then that felony charge, well, they're going to talk to the DOJ. We're going to see what we can figure out. Tim, what do you bet? And this, I'm just saying, it's just hypothetical. I'm not a guy. I'm just saying, what do you bet that the Biden gun charges are going to fall below felony level? What do you bet we're going to get 3 misdemeanors? What do you think the over-under is on that?
Oh, absolutely. There's no way. There's no way they're going to put Hunter Biden in jail. If they do, we'll have to think of something funny for me to do on camera. But he is not going to spend a day in jail over this one. Now, it's a 10-year maximum penalty on the charge he's accused of that he's pled guilty to. What I read isn't he isn't going to plead guilty. He has pled guilty. And then 2 different reports. One report says his attorney came out and said, we after this 5-year investigation, his plead today finally puts this investigation to rest, and we look forward to moving on. Then I read another report saying, we're going to go ahead and continue the investigation, but while we're doing that, we're going to take a look at the sentencing guidelines on the gun charge and see what we can do here. And that scares me when they say, we're just going to see what the sentencing guidelines are. There's a maximum of 10 years and a minimum of 10 minutes of community service. I think he's going to fall on the 10 minutes of community service side of this, probably.
You think it's on the community service side?
Yeah.
That's your over-under?
Which he can pay somebody with ill-gotten money from some enemy state. He can pay somebody to go do the community service for him, and he'll just go do meth in a hotel room.
Well, and so here's what he's talking about. Mr. Producer, could you hit number 5? Then we'll get the nitty-gritty here, because this is where the details lie. The gun charge states that Hunter Biden possessed a handgun, a Colt Cobra 38 Special, despite knowing he was a drug user for 11 days, in October 2018. The count carries a maximum sentence of up to 10 years in prison, but the Justice Department says Hunter Biden has reached a pre-trial agreement on that charge. Full details were not immediately available. And wouldn't you know it, Tim, the White House has had no immediate comment on the case? Wouldn't you know it?
Boy, you read something there, and I had to Google it really quick. They said that he had a Colt revolver, right?
I'm so amped you're jumping on that.
Did every picture I've seen, it is an automatic.
It's a semi, right?
Yes, it's a self-loading pistol. I'm looking at a picture right now of him standing in his underwear with a gun next to his side.
That's kind of weird, man.
Now, did he have 2 guns? What is going on here?
Yeah. I'm, you know what, Tim? We're going to take a moment in front of the audience. I don't even mind saying, I'm so proud you caught that. That's exactly right. So every picture that we've seen is a semi-automatic. Everything we've heard is a semi-automatic. Now, it's in the details, it's in the weeds, but all of a sudden, it's a Colt Cobra 38 Special. Interesting.
That is wild. I want to see how they explain this one, if they even do.
If they even do. That's the thing. If they even do. But don't worry, Tim, it's okay. He was only a drug user for 11 days. I mean, in 2018, of October, of course. Only 11 days.
Yeah.
Just,
look,
what do you bet? What do you bet that 11-day span was right when he bought that Cobra Colt 38
Whatever
Special?
he bought. All the guns he bought.
I mean, like,
and threw in a dumpster.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah.
Right there. And then after that, he was clean. There was no problem. In fact, everything we've seen has only been in those 11 days. Yeah. About that.
His lawyer said, he's made some mistakes and he's looking at moving on.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
A mistake is, accidentally, I don't know, putting the wrong sweetener in your coffee. That's a mistake.
Yes.
Using drugs for years and years and years, going out, lying on a 4473 form, ditching the gun in a dumpster outside of a school, and having the Secret Service go cover up your mistake for you and try to hide it, but then somebody finds out about it and Congress gets involved, and then they have to come out and finally admit they did wrong, and then finally he gets charged with something, and finally he pleads guilty to something, and I guarantee you he's going to get community service if that much.
Listen,
Oh
Tim,
my goodness.
mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made. And
Like,
after all,
he killed
this was only
37
occurring.
people. It was just a mistake. It was a time period he was going through in his life.
They happen. It was a bad thing, but we're looking forward to moving on. Oh my God. Okay, so now
I wish I could use that
let's
as defense.
God, I wish I could too.
Just a mistake, Your Honor.
YouTube, I swear, it's just a mistake. It's okay. So here's one. I think this is an interesting thing if you zoom out, because obviously this is what's occurring. What do you think, Tim? And I'm just hypothetical. We're all hypothetical world right now. What do you bet that pleading down on a misdemeanor tax charge and pleading down a felony gun charge down to a appropriate negotiated level, what do you bet the timing is very coincidence right when Daddy's going to be running a campaign for president? What do you bet that has maybe just a little something to do with it?
It has everything to do with it. They're going to tie this up before the election goes into full cycle.
Put a bow on it, baby.
They don't want this hanging over their heads, so they've made a deal with a friendly judge and obviously a friendly DOJ, and they're just going to make this go away. And, the American people generally have a very short attention span and very short memory, so they will mostly forget about this. Not that the Democrats care. Hunter Biden could have gone out and, did hits for
everything
a
he
cartel and had video of the entire thing, and they would still go, it was just a mistake. It was a phase in his life. And
it was a rough phase. It was bumpy.
I mean, look, I saw one of the morons on Twitter this morning saying, see, Hunter Biden pled guilty. Democrats are all about, justice and nobody's above the law, but not the Republicans. Yeah. It's that Harry Sison moron.
Was that Harry Sison?
Oh, God, man, such an idiot. It's like, no, I'm sorry.
Well, but
Both
2 weeks ago,
have all sorts of criminals running through them.
Absolutely. 2 weeks ago, that exact same guy is like, Republicans do these bad things, and Hunter Biden, it's a witch hunt. He's perfectly fine. Now Hunter pleads guilty. See, we own up to our mistakes.
Yeah, we got caught and we admitted to it after 5 years. And we know we tried to use the Bruin decision. We tried to use this. We tried to do that. But finally, we came to the stark realization that we just got to own this one, folks.
Exactly.
And I'm going to plead guilty because it's the right thing to do, not because Daddy has an election to win.
Not because we need to put a bow on it. It would be politically expedient to get a lower charge or a lesser charge. That way you can satisfy the see, we are accountable. See, we're pleading guilty. It's the right thing to do. By the way, you can't use this in our campaigns anymore because Biden needs to get that second term when he'll graduate that second term or conclude that second term when he's 108. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. The actual scene from the Lost Raid or the Raiders of the Lost Ark where the guy drinks the wrong cup, that's going to be Biden at the very end when he just turns into dust. Facts. Hard facts. Oh, my goodness.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out because I look forward to the follow-up episode where we find out what he's actually sentenced with.
We can take bets right now. We can get it on record. So you say community service. I'm thinking...
Definitely misdemeanor and maybe not even community service, but it is not going to be a felony charge. I predict he will not spend a minute in jail.
All right, so here's what I think. Here's what I'm gonna get extravagant on this, Tim, because you know how I have a flair for the dramatic. I'm thinking that we're gonna do jail time that is done incongruent, so they can do weekends and turn themselves in for a total of 30 days, which would be 2 months of weekends. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that. I think that, and then some community service. It could
be. That'd be right up there with community service. I think my biggest bet would be he's not going to do a felony because a felony means he has to do 12 months or more in a prison.
Correct.
Right. So they're not going to do that to him. They're not going to put him in prison during the campaign. They're just not because the Republicans would have a field day with that. So they've already made a deal.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you he's not going to go to prison.
Yep. No, you and I are completely agreeing we're not going to prison. I'm still keeping the door open for weekend sleepovers at prisons.
Yeah,
maybe
they might
a jail.
Do some touchy-feely stuff like, look, Hunter Biden's really owning it. So the Harry Sissons of the world can go, see, look, he's being responsible. Show him in a soup kitchen somewhere, putting crack in the soup.
Exactly. Man, you're really on that. You really that's.
Well, maybe a roofie because he does have a sex addiction too. So.
And right now is when we need to wrap. And we need to wrap.
And he has a addiction. Just cover everything. All right, guys. I snorted. I'm having entirely too much fun with this. If it wasn't so serious, because this is serious. I mean, seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
We would be treated completely different. Just watch what they do to this mother. And then contrast that to what Hunter Biden gets charged.
100% correct.
Right? And we'll do that comparison when we find out how both those cases land. All right, guys, we look forward to your comments down below. What do you think? Comment down below. What do you think Hunter Biden's final sentence will be? What do you think that they'll do to him, if anything? I look forward to reading those comments. If you guys would like to be part of our call-in show, there's a link in the video description below. Follow that link, answer some questions. We'll get you on the show. We'll have a good time. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.